In this video, I'm going to talk about sex, masturbating, intimacy, physical attraction, connection and trauma, marketing, life energy, sacral chakra, and how they're all kind of like intertwined together that has set us down the path that we are, whether it's through marketing or societal norms and beliefs that we carry. Now, even though we have our individual paths and our lives are extremely unique, there is no one on this planet or anyone that has ever lived in human history that has had the life that you have had, that is like you. So there is a huge level of uniqueness, but that doesn't mean that we don't have similar experiences. We grow up in certain societies that have beliefs and we adopt the beliefs of society because we are part of society. There are a lot of behaviors that a lot of people will see as kind of like normal, or yeah, it's just that's the way that humans are. And because we see the world that we've built, all these buildings, roads, lampposts, cars, and we believe that that is Earth. It's what we've built on Earth, and it's cool. Don't get me wrong, I love the stuff we built, but that's not what humans have evolved to be like. We're not living to the way that we've evolved. So when you would see a behavior in society and you would think that it's normal because everyone else is doing it, doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. And it absolutely doesn't mean that that's just what humans do. Connection for a human being is actually more important for our survival than food and water. We are a relationally dependent species. We're social creatures and a herd species. We actually use love, relationships, and connection as a way of surviving. This is why rejection feels as bad as it does for us. How we feel is always going to push us to do something else. Like if there was a car coming at you 90 miles an hour, the fear that you would feel will make you jump out of the way, pushing you to doing something that's going to protect you and save you. And if we are rejected, we are losing the thing that we rely on for our survival, the connection. So that rejection comes the feeling of annihilation with it. That annihilation is going to push us to reconnect somehow. The same as if I wasn't eating food or drinking water. The feeling of being starving is going to make me go towards getting food. Going to prioritize me eating over anything else. Now, I'm not talking about like, oh, not eating for a few hours. I'm talking about like if it's taken days. We also have a relationship with ourselves with connection because of the experiences we've been through in our lives, and because we live in a time where I call the emotional dark ages, where most people on the planet don't understand the importance and prioritizing our emotional well-being over anything else because we are emotional beings. Because of that, we've grown up in a society that is not created to go towards meeting our emotional needs or teaching us how to meet our own emotional needs. Because of that, we grow up with many, many unmet needs. And we have a lot of emotional distress without the resolution for that distress in the experience that we have. The cause of that is that we learn to reject many parts of ourselves. Now, this could be for many reasons. We reject parts of ourselves to reestablish connection with others. If someone else is not okay with the way that I behave as a child, and that might be anger, that might be saying no, that might be being jealous because another child has a toy that I want, or I'm crying and I'm being told that I shouldn't cry because big boys don't cry, big girls don't cry. When I learn that there are parts of me that are the cause that I am being rejected, as a way to maintain that connection that I rely on with other people, I reject those parts of me. And that was just one example. I'm talking like hundreds of experiences that you've had in your life. We've learned to reject parts of ourselves. So in order to maintain the connection externally, I have rejected parts of myself and I'm disconnected in many different ways internally. Again, we were never taught any of these things. And internally now I have a lot of self-rejection and I'm extremely disconnected. So internally, I feel that annihilation. We go through life learning how to get our needs met in any way that we can. And again, because we live in a time where this isn't globally understood, the way we get these needs met more often than not are extremely unhealthy. This is why addiction is a thing. Addiction isn't wrong. Addiction is someone in their pain trying to get their needs met. And if someone's in a place where they are addicted to something, it's because they're in so much pain, there is so much disconnect within them that they have to numb themselves in order to just not feel the pain. But everything that a human being does, even if it's, I'm going to work hard down this path, we always go towards getting our needs met. And that's not wrong. It's how we work. It's just there are healthy ways of doing it and there are unhealthy ways of doing it. And again, living in the emotional traditional dark ages, we all learned the very, very unhealthy ways of doing it. And we see our parents and our peers doing it. And we think, oh, look, that's the way that we get our needs met. So I'm going to do that, even though it's not healthy. Intimacy is very important to understand. The best way that I've heard intimacy be described is this. You can break it down to into me see. It's to see into someone, to feel into them. You can have intimacy with others and you can have intimacy with yourself. Intimacy is a powerful way of connecting. Remember, connection is the most important thing for a human being, for an emotional being. Without connection, we feel annihilation. And there are many parts of ourselves within us we are disconnected from. Now, sex doesn't necessarily mean intimacy, but sex is a form of intimacy. You can actually have more intimacy talking to someone than you can having sex with someone. The level of depth of intimacy you have isn't just reliant on one person being intimate. It requires both people being intimate with each other. For example, if I was trying to be intimate with someone who wasn't interested in being intimate with me, it wouldn't work. And there's that level of vulnerability. I have to be vulnerable if I want to be intimate. And the more vulnerable I am, the more intimate I can be with someone. But again, that person also has to be that level of vulnerability as well. Through the many programmings of society, whether it's marketing and sex sells, so sex is being thrown so much at you in so many different angles, whether it's posters, social media posts, videos, movies, anything on TV shows or anything like that. It's pushing you towards that thing that feels good, feels exciting. Well, that exciting feeling, the attraction, the arousal is a key to feeling something. If I show you a specific picture that's going to turn you on, that picture is the key to that feeling of being turned on. And that's not necessarily just for sex and intimacy and arousal. It works in every single way. For example, if I play football, football is the key for me to tap into the energy of joy. If I'm doing something I hate, I will not tap into the energy of joy. And there are things in reality that we use as keys to tap into certain energies. Sex is actually our key to tap into life energy. It's like creation energy. This is why sex is what creates life. The creation energy is a very high vibrational energy. It's what we have come into this reality from, because we were created from our parents. So that creation energy is a very high vibrational energy. When you are having sex or being aroused or masturbating, you are using all of that as the key to tap more into creation energy, life energy. This is why an orgasm feels as good as it does. Yes, you've got the chemical changes in your body when you have an orgasm, but that's a reaction from you tapping into life energy or creation energy. When you have an orgasm, you've fully tapped into that energy. That's why it's like the peak of touching that energy and then coming back down. Now, this reality is very heavy, this 3D reality. It's extremely heavy compared to outside of this reality. That life creation energy is where we came from. And where we came from, there's this knowing and understanding that we are connected. Everything is connected. We are one. We've not experienced the disconnect internally. So when I connect to that energy, I feel connected. I feel much more high vibration, which is a lot lighter than the heaviness that I'm feeling now. Overall, it feels much better. Most of the time when someone would go and have casual sex or sex just for the sake of having sex, and they're like, well, you're meeting your needs. It's like, well, what needs am I meeting? And it's very understandable at the surface level. You would think, oh, I'm just turned on. I just want to have sex. I want to have an orgasm. It's a need of mine. Yeah, well, what does that need represent? What is the deeper rooted unmet need that you are trying to meet? And it's a lack of connection within yourself, which is what's also causing the lack of connection externally with others, the lack of intimacy. So what we do is we have sex in order to feel that connection to not just creation energy, but to try and connect through a certain level of intimacy with someone else. Everything that we're doing is going towards trying to connect. And by climaxing, by having an orgasm, it also feels great because I'm tapping into that energy as well. So in that moment, I'm not feeling the rejection. I'm not feeling the disconnect. I'm not feeling it as much in that moment. Along with all of that, it's actually taking me away from the pain from a lot of my core beliefs. So for example, if I'm having sex with someone, then it doesn't necessarily mean I'm not desirable. I am desirable because someone is desiring me in that moment. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm not lovable because this person has the potential to like me, which could lead to loving me, or does like me, really likes me. And obviously I'm not necessarily not good enough because I must be good enough if someone is having sex with me. The sacral chakra, the bottom chakra, energy center, whatever you want to call it, that's kind of like where all the wounds in terms of sexual energy and everything is carried. And to simplify all of it in a category, it's disconnection. All the parts of yourself that are playing a role in all the wounds and everything in regards to everything that we're talking about is because they feel and experience disconnection. So whenever we're having casual sex or even masturbating, which is why we get addicted to porn, because watching porn allows me to masturbate, which is what gives me some sense of connection within myself to tap into the creation energy, which is also the same as if I'm having casual sex or sleeping around. It's all about connection. This is why after you have casual sex with someone, you go back to feeling disconnected. You go back to feeling not anywhere near as good as it should be. And everything can point towards that. It can trigger that kind of like path of going, ooh, I can go feel connected. And because the marketing world today is forcefully pushing these unrealistic narratives of human being. And that's happened in movies, in social media, in posters, billboards, TV shows, even on packages where we put these images of how the most attractive humans should look and do look. In a time where we are all so disconnected in the emotional dark ages, it's very easy to trigger those parts of you that want to be connected. And, oh, this is the path to connection. It's through sex. This is why sex sells so well, because we are all so disconnected from ourselves. And this is why we go towards choosing someone we are more physically attracted to and being kind of okay with the red flags that we see as well, because we unconsciously misinterpret that as my source of being able to feel the connection that I am starved of. These aren't necessarily conscious thoughts. It's all happening in the background in our unconscious part with the unconscious programmings that we have. Physical attraction is extremely subjective. Extremely subjective. One person might look at someone and think that they're super attractive, and the other person might look at that same person and go, nah, not for me. But there is a narrative that we are pushing into society, which is kind of steering the car of what attraction is. 100 years ago, attraction was very, very different. In the Victorian times, the most attractive person looked very different to the most attractive person today. And society are also following that, which shows how subjective it is. When you start finding that reconnection within yourself, and I mean like truly reconnecting, which requires you to do the work, to understand how to get to these parts of yourself that are disconnected, how to validate them, how to communicate to them, how to meet their unmet needs. If I'm having casual sex and I'm feeling terrible after it, the reason I'm having casual sex is to meet those needs, and I'm feeling terrible after it, it's because I'm abandoning myself. I'm abandoning the parts of myself that want true connection, because I know I'm putting myself in a position where I'm not really getting that true connection. I'm just kind of putting a band-aid over a wound in that moment. It's not going to help me really, because my goal isn't to have an orgasm, and my goal isn't actually to have sex. My goal is to feel like I'm good enough, feel like I'm desirable, feel like I'm worthy, and to connect. And we can't do that externally. It has to start internally. You have to start connecting with the parts of yourself internally first. And the more you do it, the better it gets. The more you do it, you will eventually get to a place where you don't want to sleep around. You don't want to have casual sex, because you're meeting those unmet needs within yourself. And this reality is a mirror of everything that you are. If you're finding yourself that you're attracting people who don't really want to commit, who just want to always have casual sex, but you want to commit, you want to have a meaningful relationship, then you need to start having a meaningful relationship with yourself internally. You need to learn how to connect with yourself internally. And then this reality will mirror that to you. You start prioritizing yourself, not abandoning yourself, going towards the really uncomfortable feelings that are pushing you to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, pushing you to do things just for the sake of feeling that connection in the moment. It's all about finding the connection within first. The more you do it, the better it gets. You won't want to put yourself in the same positions. The more you're able to connect within yourself, then this reality will attract a partner to you that will want the same, that is doing the same, because you are doing it. You will attract someone that wants to have a meaningful connection with you because you're having a meaningful connection with yourself. Now, when I do videos like this and I get as deep into the explanation like this, most of the time the questions that I get is, well, okay, how do you connect with parts of yourself? How do you integrate these parts of yourself? How do you heal yourself? If you're interested in learning how to do this in an extremely powerful way and going deeper with this, there's a link in the description where you can watch my free masterclass, The Importance of Self-Awareness. I also want to take a moment to thank everyone who's supporting me on this journey. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It allows me to do more of these videos. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll see you next time. I just did an entire video and it crashed, so I need to do it again. Thank you for the test, universe. These are the funnest tests ever.